Hello and welcome to Cranbrook's Local History for Children, where we're looking at the Great Fire of Cranbrook of the 25th of May 1840. I'm on the top floor of the museum, standing next to an old fireman's uniform that is more than 50 years old. It's very different from the fireman's uniforms of today. And here's our collection of fireman's helmets, which are all rather different and date back over the last 150 years. Now have a look at this old photograph, which is from nearly 150 years ago. This is the Cranbrook Fire Brigade. They're standing outside the vestry hall with their fire engine. The fire engine doesn't actually have an engine if you look closely. The firemen have to push it. Now look closely because I have some questions for you. Firstly, can you see those helmets? Do you recognise them? And what about that ladder? Can you see the ladder there? And the hoses? And the buckets made from leather? And can you see the fireman who's holding the lantern? Which fireman do you think is the leader? What differences can you see between that fire brigade and the fire and rescue service of today? Now you may have heard about the Great Fire of London in 1666, but did you know that here in our small town of Cranbrook we had our own Great Fire? And it started right here on the night of the 25th of May 1840. This is what the newspaper had to say at the time. The alarm was first given at about 11 o'clock on Monday night that a large house recently occupied by Mr. James Benzie, upholsterer and cabinet maker, who had only taken possession of the premises on the preceding Wednesday, was on fire. Mr. Benzie and his family had retired to bed about 20 minutes past 10, previous to which, he says, he had examined all the lower parts of the house to ensure himself that everything was safe. But at that time, not the least smell of fire was perceivable. The family comprised of Mr. and Mrs. Benzie, 3 children, 2 apprentices and 2 female servants. One of the apprentices gave the alarm, having been awakened by suffocating smoke in the attic. On Mr. Benzie opening his bedroom door, a dense volume of smoke rushed in from the stairs, and the female servants were alarmed immediately, while Mr. Benzie rushed to take care of the children. Such was the lead that this devastating element had already attained, that the family had the greatest difficulty in escaping from the house with their lives, being almost in a state of nudity, not even having time to save scarcely a garment except their night clothes. Although poor Mr. Benzie lost everything, the firemen and the townspeople were praised for their incredible effort, which brought the fire under control that night without any loss of life. I'm back at the museum in the garden, and behind me, about 100 metres away, is the High Street and the site of the fire. But just the other side of this fence is the old horse pond, which is where the firemen and the local townspeople who came to help would have got the water from to put the fire out. So, next time you're in Cranbrook High Street, look up at the plaque above Page's newsagent and picture in your mind that night and the courage and effort of the firemen and people of Cranbrook who managed to save the town from destruction.